let's get started now. Let's go.
Give me a high five. You ready? Bam. Hello everyone at Live Streaming Fitness across the nation. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Malcolm. This is the joint mobility class. So for all the first timers here who haven't taken this class before, I'll just give you a quick rundown so you kind of get used to things, some, a couple quick tips. So we're going to start from the neck, work our way down to the ankles. Every single movement that we perform today, make sure that your posture is good. So you're standing tall. Make sure keep in the back of your mind that you aren't rolling your shoulders or rounding your upper back, as well as your low back. Make sure you're not overarching. Just try and keep those in the back of your mind. You can always try and imagine this as a string on the top of your head and it's pulling you upwards. 2, always just make sure you're breathing. So inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Nice deep breaths. Everything's going to be slow and controlled. As well as the tempo. So you can go at my tempo, you can go a little slower, you can go a little faster. Whatever's going to be good for you. Just make sure that you're comfortable. And also don't try and overstress yourself. It is joint mobility, so you want to make sure you keep your joints safe. Just go as far as your body's going to allow you to go. All right, let's get started here. Starting with the neck. Slow and controlled here. Tilt it to the right. Come back up. Tilt it to the left. Come back up. Now you're breathing here. You're exhaling when you take it down, inhaling when you take it up. Each and every single repetition, each and every single time you go back and forth, I'm going to try and go a little lower. Don't try and force it. Really just let gravity do its thing. And make sure you're coming back to your starting point. You're not just tick-tocking back and forth. Make sure you have that momentary pause right here in the middle. And just stay tall. Okay, good job. You can relax there. Next, we're going to stick with the neck, except this time we're going to look to the left, look to the right. So let's begin. Looking to the left, back to the middle, to the right, back to the middle. Same thing with your breathing here. You want to exhale, inhale, come back to the starting point. Make sure you don't have to over-exaggerate your breathing. Just keep it nice and relaxed. And ideally, the goal should be able to get your chin as close to the shoulder, as close to being over the shoulder as possible. Make sure you're coming back to that starting point. Get good and relax here. Okay, one last time, one more movement for the neck here. This time all we're doing is taking our chin down, coming back to the starting point. Don't throw your head back. Don't take it into hyperextension. Just come right back to a neutral position. So let's begin here. Chin. Try and get it to the chest or as close to the chest as possible. And then you're coming right back to your start point. Make sure, a good tip when performing this movement, imagine there's a half circle stemming from your chin down to your sternum. And you're trying to go around the half circle. And you're not just going straight down. So initiating the movement, trying to take my head upwards, take my neck and head upwards, and then over in that half circle. Okay, good job, relax there. So next we're gonna move on to the mid back. The mid back can be a little tricky, so I'll break down the movements here for you. First, we're just inhaling. This time you're gonna inhale in the chest rather than the stomach. So inhaling, shoulders down and back. And then I'm trying to squeeze my shoulder blades together as if you're performing a row. So I'm here. And then I'm gonna exhale. As I exhale, my upper back and neck are going to round, and I'm going to push my hands outwards. So I'll finish just like that. The low back is staying flat. The only thing that's rounding is the upper back, and then the neck follows. Make sure to keep the low back flat. All right, so here we go. And I just prefer to put my hands here, but you can do them any way you'd like. The big focus for this movement specifically is just movement of your whole thoracic cavity. So the chest and the mid back. Making sure you're trying to get as much range of motion out of these two movements as possible. Remember, big inhale, big exhale. Okay, you can relax there. All right, next we're gonna move on to the shoulders here. So for the shoulders, we're doing shoulder rolls. All it looks like is shoulders go up, roll forward, and then you drop them down. When I say you drop them, really just drop them like gravity. Take your arms down. Don't try and have a controlled descent. But here we go. After we go forward, we're gonna reverse it, and then we're gonna go backwards. So forward in 3, 2, 1. Make sure we're here. The posture is good. Standing tall. Shrugging as high as you can each and every single time. Trying to get those traps to your ears. Okay, now we're gonna reverse it, so we're just gonna go backwards. Keep shrugging high as you can each and every single time. Make sure, a lot of times when people go backwards, their chest might come out. So make sure it's just the shoulders that are moving, just the shoulders, not the chest. So chest needs to stay in one position and just have those shoulders going. Keep that breathing under control here. Okay, you can relax here. Next, continue with the shoulder. We're gonna do some internal, external rotation with the shoulders here. Just line up to one side, either to the right or to the left. I'm gonna start on the left. Bend the knees slightly. Midsection fairly tight. Arms up 180 degrees. Flip one palm up. Rotate one arm inwards. The feet switch. The arms switch. And then I'm rotating. Back and forth. When I'm doing this the whole time, I'm thinking about elongation, so I'm trying to reach as far as I can to the left and to the right. So I'm constantly reaching. And make sure that your head is always following the arm that's rotating outwards. Follow it so as not to put a strain on the neck. Okay, good. You can relax here. All right, next, we're gonna move to the wrist. So we're just gonna do some wrist rolls. First, we're gonna go clockwise, then we're gonna reverse it up and go counterclockwise. So all you're doing, pretty simple here. Clasp your hands together, stick the palms together. You're just making a circular motion. Very important here, since we're just doing wrist rolls. Make sure the posture is good. Make sure the breathing's good. So make sure you're standing tall. Shoulders aren't rounded. Back isn't rounded. Breathing in that diaphragm. Okay, we're gonna reverse it. Just reverse that motion. Keep those hands pressed together, fingers interlocked. Okay, good. You can relax here. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna move to the hips. So you can take a stance a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. And we're just doing hip circles, like a hula hoop motion. I'll segment the movement for you. We're taking our hips to the right, squeeze the left glute, hips forward, squeeze both glutes to protect the spine. Also squeezing the midsection here. Hips to the left, squeeze the right glute, hips go back, keep your low back flat, midsection fairly tight as you're doing throughout the whole exercise. So here we go. And your knees, they're staying soft, so they're not locked, but they're not completely bent either. Should have a slight give. Make sure you're trying to make a circle as big as you can with the hips. Keeping that midsection tight here. Okay, we're gonna pause here. We're gonna reverse it, doing the exact same thing. Make sure you're keeping the abdomen tight and make sure you're keeping that low back flat. All right, so let's begin. Make sure you reverse the movement. Keeping those knees soft. Back is flat. Don't forget about that breathing. Just keep it nice and controlled. Okay, good, you can relax here. So from the hips, we're gonna go to the knees. For the knees, all you're doing is putting your feet together. You're either gonna take your hands just like this in a M shape or W shape. It's gonna go right above the kneecaps. And just how we did the hips, we took the hips from right, forward, left, back. Doing the same thing with the knees, then we just smooth it out till they're making a circle. Circles you're making are really small. Think like micro circles. Since you're in this bent over, hunched over position, make sure the midsection's tight and make sure the back is flat. So neck should be neutral. In a neutral position, make sure it's not up. And the low back and mid back should also be in a neutral position. Okay, now we're gonna reverse the motion. So make sure you reversed. And really take your time with this one. Making sure your form's good. Keeping those feet together here. Okay, you can relax here. Next, we're gonna move on to the ankles. So for the ankles, if you're wearing shoes, just put your toe into the ground. It's gonna be your pivot point. If not, you're gonna put the ball of your foot to the ground. It's gonna act as your pivot point here. So you're gonna keep your foot stuck in that one position you put it in. We're just doing ankle rolls. Pretty simple. Make sure you have your weight balanced. Not all the weight's gonna be on the leg that's not rolling. You don't want it to get too fatigued. But here we go. First we're gonna go clockwise with the right foot. And once again, same thing here. Even though working the ankles, still staying tall. Still making sure the posture is good here. Of course, we're still breathing. Just keep it going, keep it smooth. Now we're gonna reverse it here. Same thing, this time we're going counterclockwise. If you're doing the right leg, a lot of times people have a problem going counterclockwise. So you can lead from your knee. If you imagine making a circle with your knee and keeping your foot stuck in the pivot point, stuck in one place, and the ankle should just follow. And you should start to feel much more smoother. Okay, good, relax here. We're gonna switch it up, doing the exact same thing. This time you're gonna put your left in the ground and we're gonna start going counterclockwise. So let's begin. Make sure you're breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Keep it relaxed. Okay, good. Now we're going to reverse it. This time we're going clockwise. Keep staying tall. Okay, good, and you can relax here. Next, we're going to transition to the ground. First, what we're going to do is actually going to be for the shoulders. For this, hands are going to be by your hips on the ground, pushing the ground up and away, so you should be staying tall right here. Now all we're doing is we're walking our hands backwards. So inch by inch, first the right, and then the left, and then the right, and the left. So throughout this movement the whole time, the elbows are staying locked, the shoulders are pressing the ground away, and the spine is staying neutral. So I'm just gonna walk my hands back. So as far as I can, and I'm gonna feel a slight stretch. And I say slight, so you don't want it to be a painful stretch. Just a very slight stretch. Feel like you can go farther. You can walk your hands back some more. Should be feeling this in the front of the shoulder. And some people also might feel it in the biceps. But once you feel the slight stretch, you're just gonna hold and sit in that position. I always advise go to the point where you feel like it's too much of a stretch, and you can always just walk your hands forward a little bit. And you're just breathing here. All right, you can relax. Sitting up here. Next, going back to the spine. All you're gonna do is take your knee across the body, bring the knee up, your left knee, then you're gonna hug it with your right hand. Left arm is gonna go backwards. You're just gonna try and slightly rotate here. Once again, we're just gonna hold this position, even all you're doing is just breathing. Whole time the knee is never coming up, it's always staying pressed against the ground. Hands always reaching back. If you don't feel like you have a lot of mobility here, like a lot of things are tight, you can just keep the other hand close to the body. That way there's not so much torque on the spine when you reach your hands back. Okay, that's good. We're gonna switch it up. Do the opposite side. Same thing, this time hooking that left knee. Right arm goes up and back. And all you're doing is breathing. Really making sure here you have a nice deep breath. Really try and get out as much of the exercise as you can. Yeah, it's good. You can relax here. Next, we're going to start in a tall kneel position. So you're going to be right here, making sure your toes are down, not flat, but toes down right here. So you got some separation. You're going to go to a quadruped position. One hand's going to go right next to your ear. You're going to try and rotate towards the ceiling so you get your elbow towards the ceiling. Take your elbow down to the inside of your wrist, and then you're gonna go right back up. All right. All the time, keep your hand close to your head. Make sure your hips are staying in one place. Make sure you're not rocking back and forth. So hips stay one place the whole time. Okay, you can relax, and we're gonna switch it up. So exact same thing. Make sure you're focused on the breathing, and when you're breathing for this exercise, you're exhaling when you get to the top. You try and get a little bit more range of motion. Inhaling when you take the elbow down. And just keep it nice and relaxed. All right, you can relax here. Last one we're gonna do is called press-ups. So you're flat on your stomach. Hands are gonna be underneath the shoulders here. Feet can be anywhere from together to shoulder width apart to slightly shoulder width apart. All I'm doing is, while keeping my hips pressed to the ground, I'm pushing off the ground. And when I push, my shoulders aren't shrugged up. I'm pushing away, keeping my elbows locked, and I'm squeezing my glutes to protect my low back. And I'm coming right back down to the start position. And we're just performing repetitions, performing the press-ups. Make sure that if it's too much of a difficulty, you can try taking your hands forward. It'll decrease the range of motion, so it'll be a little easier. Or if it's still too hard, you can just prop yourself up and you can hold this position. And when performing this movement, the whole time trying to imagine you're trying to wrap yourself around an imaginary ball that's placed on the back. So make sure you're going in a circular motion. All right, and relax here. All right, everyone, we are done for today. That's it for today's joint mobility class. Thank you for joining me. Hope you're feeling good. Every Monday, every Friday. Also, don't forget to join me for joint mobility, athletic conditioning from 8 to 10. Thank you guys once again, and peace out.